welcome to the Lowdown Mortgage Podcast, the show where we dive deep into the topics that directly impact the evolving originator. I'm your host, Connor Bartley. Bam! And joining me today is someone who's been doing this for 30 years, since he was really actually no shit, 18 years old, and has seen enough market cycles to earn the right to say he's done his time. Now, he found his way into the mortgage business by necessity and has since built one of the most durable referral networks in Houston, where 7 of his top 10 referral partners stretch back 15 to 20 years. Today, he coaches loan officers across the country as a part of Go Coaching and still manages to fly planes in his spare time. So, Michael Harrington, welcome to the Lowdown.
Hey, nice to be here. I can't wait.
Man, I'm excited to have you. You know, for people listening, they don't know, you and I have known each other for a long time and have kept in touch. And so I'm excited to have you on the show here today because I know how knowledgeable you are and the impact that you are making in the coaching scene, because we've actually had a few of your students here on the Lowdown and kind of behind the scenes. They've told me how great it's been working with you. And so really excited to kind of have you share on that today. But before we dive into the more instructive side of it, because today's going to be a very tactical episode, for listeners who don't know you, who haven't had the opportunity to meet you or hear your story, would you mind just kind of sharing your background a little bit and how you got into this business and kind of where you came from and all of that?
Absolutely. So after high school, I thought I would want to get a music degree. And so I went and visited Berklee College of Music and thought, okay, I want to be a musician. I want to be a drummer professionally. Of course, you know, they make so much money professionally, unless you're like in the top 0.5% of that industry. But I found out how much it cost. It was going to be $18,000 a year. It was just barely out of state tuition because I lived like 40 minutes from Boston and New Hampshire. And I used to talk like this, believe it or not. It was wicked awesome while I was up there. But when I couldn't get a job, my mom suggested I go to work for a real estate professional down here in Houston in commercial real estate. And so 18, I thought, why not? So I packed up literally everything into a little Suzuki Tracker. That's what my life fit in the backseat of like the smallest Jeep in the world. And I came down to Houston with a dream to, make money. Because back then that's all I cared about because I literally was just barely surviving. And I didn't really have a fallback plan. I couldn't go back to live with my mom and so forth. So I kind of had to like burn the ships, as they say, and start in real estate. And I didn't like commercial real estate, man. I was dealing with diplomats from China. And because we're dealing with overseas people, I was up till midnight back then faxing stuff over, waiting for faxes to come across. I was working all ends of the hour. And it was crazy. Someone offered me a job in mortgage lending. It was just to be an assistant to somebody. And then she taught me the ropes, and the rest is history. I was 18 when I got into mortgage lending, and even bought my first house when I was 18. I was making $22,000 a year. Nice. I bought my first home using down payment assistance here in Houston. I closed with $110.36 at the table. I looked like I was 12 years old because I had a baseball cap and like t-shirt and shorts. I was ready to move in, a little bit more than a Suzuki Tracker had at that time, and had to buy furniture and stuff. And it was a brand new construction home, $82,000 house. I had all my closing costs paid for, 2-1 buy down, and got in for like $534 a month, which was less than I was paying in rent at the time. And it was crazy because I was probably the first person in my family to ever actually own a house at the time. Like no one had owned a house like ever. Like everyone rented apartments. My family was always in property management. So it's kind of cool to actually have a house to myself at making so little money. And I was able to afford something like that back then. But, 3 years later, sold it for about $30,000 more than what I paid for it. And I cashed the check. Connor, I cashed the check because I was 21, 22 years old. And I was like, I got to hold this kind of cash. So it was 30,000 cash in my hands. And I threw it on the bed. I'm not kidding. 30,000 cash. And I rolled around on it like it was an MTV video. It was crazy. And then I had to pack it all back together and deposit it back in the bank. I'm not kidding. At Wells Fargo, cop walks over. Where'd you get the $30,000? I looked like a drug dealer, I guess, at the time. Deposit. No, I have my closing statement in my car. You have a what? So that was my entry into real estate, into mortgage lending. I've been in the top 1% since I was 21, 22 years old. So it's been a fun ride.
I love the visual of just like, and I love that you did that. You cashed the check, took the money, threw it on the bed, rolled around in it, and then went right back to the bank with it.
Almost got arrested for depositing my own money back in the bank. So thank God I had my closing statement in the car. Man. You literally escorted me to the car to get the closing statement. So.
You just unlocked a whole new goal for me in life. Like I want to experience that at some point. It's just,
Don't catch the checks, people. Don't catch. Like sometimes the banks don't even have that much money. It's like they're like, oh, we have 30,000 cash. Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah,
wow.
never did that again. Never cashed another check that large ever again in my life. So.
Right. Well, man, I appreciate you being here today and for kind of giving us some background on you. I know you've got a great story, and it's really cool to see someone who has been as successful as you have start giving back to the, originator community and really starting to be involved on the coaching side. And so I want to get into some of that and just pick your brain because with the accomplishments that you've had over your career, you've gained a lot of knowledge. And I think our audience would really benefit from some of that. And when we were preparing to have to get together on this episode, one of the things we talked about was creating, maintaining, and retaining long-term real estate relationships. As I mentioned in the introduction, you've had some of your top partners date back 15 to 20 years of working together, which is really rare and exceptional in this business. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to let you take over here. And because I know you might have some things to share and whatnot on the screen, but if you don't mind just sort of going into that, and I might
Yeah.
ask some questions along the way.
Let's do it. Being a pilot and doing that recreationally, I used to use the word for fun. I now use the word recreationally because sometimes flying is not fun. Sometimes it's a lot of work and it requires checklists. And so I was always inspired many years ago by a loan officer that was here in Houston. His name was Dick Wilburn, and he was a mentor of mine. My current assistant worked for him for 14 years before she came to work for me after he retired. And he was so good about starting and ending his day on time. And he had a crazy amount of business back then. I mean, it was unheard of to have the amount of business he had. And at 4:30, he was out to do baseball with his son. I was always blown away. I found out he previously was a commercial airline pilot. And it started to make sense to me that, okay, he's got things running, he's got checklists. And it's funny, I came across a video that I did that I never posted. And it was a video I did in a cockpit. And I was talking about the checklist. I was for real estate agents, and I never posted it. And I probably won't post it, honestly, Connor, because it's like 2 years ago when I had a lot more weight on my chin.
Oh, come
So
on. I want to see
I was
it
a little
now.
bit more chunky. And so I'm like, if I could thin the image of me down in that cockpit, because
Right.
all you see
Run
is
it
my
through
double.
AI, just run it
I
through
know, I
AI.
know.
It'll be
Like people be
fine.
like, Michael, did you gain weight again? I'll be like, because I really want to post it now. But the front checklist is the main checklist. It's like the list when you get into any cockpit. You've got a pre-flight and a flight, and then basically a post-flight checklist. Like there's little like there's obviously like other parts of the checklist, but that's the main key components. And the pre-flight checklist is to make sure the airplane is good before you take off. So that's the thing. It takes about 15 minutes before you even get in the cockpit. Is to make sure the plane is safe before you take off. And there's been times where people did not complete that checklist. If you're familiar with the guy who owns the Taste of Texas, one of the best steakhouses in Houston, he was in a twin engine and he had to make an emergency landing, which was not good because he actually screwed up his back on it. Emergency landing on Highway 59 in between, thankfully, the freeway. He lived, but we found out through the NTSB report that they put the wrong fuel in the airplane at West Houston Airport where he was at. They put jet fuel instead of 100 low level. And believe it or not, that will screw up your engine, right? Because you got up in the sky and then engine cut out. Had he done his full pre-flight checklist, which includes checking the fuel below the wings, he would have seen the separation and known that it was the wrong fuel. As a pilot, I was lazy before that too and wouldn't do that part of the check. I thought, oh, surely, they always put the right fuel in. Okay. But in the end, after that accident, after that NTSB report, I was like, I'm going to start checking that. It's like
That's
when you find out about something, you're like, so all that to say, and the reason why I bring this up is because the back of the checklist is all emergencies, like fire on the wing, fire in the cockpit, engine goes out while taking off, engine goes out while like not taking off, but in the sky. It's just all these different emergency checklists that we're supposed to memorize a couple of the pieces of, so that way we can immediately react to those things. And I think too often in our world of mortgage lending, we don't have even the front checklist or much less, by golly, that back checklist. Like not just memorized, we just don't know how to react to it. And so now the way I've approached everything with my coach students as well as my team is I want to have a smooth runway, no speed bumps. And what I'm trying to do for my coach clients is make sure I take out all those speed bumps along the way so that their airplane can take off quicker and they can gain air faster. So if that makes sense to you, That's what I'm
Absolutely.
doing today too. I'd love for, people, even my coach students, to see this clip, because I'll be explaining things a little bit deeper here than I can do in a 10 to 15-minute session with 4 or 5 people in the room. So I'm hoping that this does help people avoid the speed bumps and the failures I've already gone through in 30 years. And so I would say that, honestly, Connor, if I wasn't a good chef after 30 years in the kitchen, I need to get out of the kitchen, right? Like I don't belong in the kitchen. So the experiences I've had have what gotten me here. But that's by leaning on the experiences of others, by seeing people like Dick Wilburn do what he did, and then having mentors like Allison Griffin in my industry, who's amazing with first-time homebuyer programs. And it's like you look at every little person and what their expertise is. And for me, it's having longevity with my agents, but also going after top real estate agents and teams. So I'm going to share some pillars of like how to build a legacy relationship. I'll share on the screen, but I'll explain for those that are just listening as well. So let me
Yeah.
share that with you guys real quick.
Sure. And I love that. And while Michael's bringing this up, I just want to kind of add a few things to what he said. One, he referenced Dick Welburn, Allison Griffin. I think, something that I take away from that is a part of success really is who you surround yourself with while you're in your career, and getting around the right people can have a tremendous impact on how successful you'll be. And so I just think that's a call out to those that are listening, that to be mindful of that and really try to get in the right rooms. But I see you've got it up on the screen now, so I'll let you take over.
Yeah, yeah. So you'll see the Iron Ace. That's actually my alter ego. For those of you that read Todd Herman's book, The Alter Ego, that's my alter ego, Iron Ace. So now you know. This is about setting up legacy relationships, like relationships that are going to be long term. And for some of you, you might think, oh, I wanted more tactile. We're going to get to that too. But again, you have got to believe that you're going to have a long term relationship with whatever agent you're going after, or agents that you're going after. I see too often real lenders that just do the whole 50 calls. I made 50 calls. I made 50. And I'm like, okay, but how many actual relationships are you doing? It's kind of like, Connor, you probably say, okay, I say, okay, to a lot of like Facebook requests of people I might not know, but you see the word mutual friends, but you don't know this person, right? Like you haven't gone deep with them. Now I'm like starting to wonder, like, should I like reach out to them, DM them and say, hey, look, I'm glad you requested my friendship. I don't know you. I'd love to know you, but let's go deeper. Like let's go down a level and not just be, it reminds me of the kiddie pool, at these subdivisions where
Right.
it's like 2 inches of water. It's like you're barely getting wet. Like I feel like that's kind of like how Facebook and Instagram are. It's like you're not going deep, right? I bring that up because I once saw this huge influencer on Instagram and TikTok, and he ended up in the hospital doing, I guess, some sort of like a stunt for Instagram or TikTok, and so they set up a page, like a GoFundMe page, and he had millions of viewers, like we're talking 7 million viewers, right, followers, whatever. I looked at his GoFundMe page, Connor, and it was like a couple $100 out of like 100,000 he needed for surgery. So I'm thinking, and it had been a couple days, and I'm thinking, well, there's the depth of the relationship he had with all those millions of viewers, right? Like there was no one person in that whole thing that really like said, oh, let me give you $1,000 for your medical bills. I was like, that's crazy to me. I was just like, that to me said something about, it's not about the amount of views, it's not about like how deep are they going with you. So consistent presence is obviously really important, and that has a lot in Go Coaching. We do teach, you want this many people to know who you are. Okay, we want this many people to actually refer you business, and this many people to know that they could refer you this business. So when you get into our program, we talk about like social media specifically, and then we talk specifically about like the actual depth of relationships and networking events and being one to many, right? And then we talk about how do you do the one-to-ones with these people, like what are you going to present to them. I'm big about making sure that your presentation needs to be both visual and audio. Like right now, I'm comfortable doing both the video and, like we talked about this before the presentation, right? I said, well, I want to present an actual video portion, but you said, hey, a lot of people can be audio, right? So you got to make sure you're doing it for both audiences. So consistent presence is really key. Being on Instagram, being on Facebook, quite frankly, being on YouTube. YouTube's a great place for people to actually learn and be educated. That's going to be important. You have to support their career. Whoever the referral partner is, you have to also support their career. Like you've got to be there for them. You need to help first before you ask. Too often I think it's like, what's it going to take for me to get your business? That is a horrible question to ask. I don't like that question. I actually hate it. Like if someone asks me that, Connor, if you ask me that as a recruiter or from a different company, I'm checked out. Like, if you're a contributor, if you're wanting to help and you're wanting to educate others, and in that realm, you end up getting business, wonderful. But asking them what's going to take for me to get your business, not a great question to ask, especially top producers, builders, and so forth. Some coaching platforms teach that, like, what's it going to take? Like, if these people are screwing up, if I did this, would you give me your business? Okay. Well, what did you give me first? Because so far all you've done is take. You're not a giver. So you got to support them in their career. You got to go beyond just the mortgage entity. And a lot of that has to do with also shared experiences. Like if you're going to networking functions, if you're going to masterminds with them, if you're creating an avenue or creating an ability to do masterminds, which I'll talk about later about how to go after top teams. It's about creating those conferences, creating those environments that allows them to mastermind together. I'm not saying go and do a happy hour and invite a bunch of real estate agents to the happy hour. That sometimes will work. I just don't think that attracts the right crowd and the right person that you're going after. Because if you're going to go after the family person that has a good balance to their life, a great team, chances are they're not going out at 7 o'clock at night so they can get hammered. So it's like, you got to decide what kind of basis you're going to go with. And quite frankly, that crowd too is the same crowd that does the whole revolving door with the lenders. Like, I'll put you on a list of 3, or I'll put you on my list. Like, that's the worst thing you could hear. And I have responses for that, which is my first response is usually, oh, please don't. And that usually is a disruptor. They're like, wait, why did you just tell me not to put you on a list? Well, let me tell you why. And then I'll go into number 4, which would be like, imagine if you had a partner with you that was actually doing an event for your client appreciation party. And we're a partner for your client appreciation party. We'll help you find vendors. See how I'm now differentiating myself from a partner to I will help you find vendors? That way I don't place myself as a vendor, right? I'm going to control that collective of people, the roofer, the inspector, the title company. All that to say, they are vendors. They rarely will send business back to a real estate agent, right? They're not going to be a good referral partner necessarily for a realtor in general, like statistically speaking. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what I do with my students is I have them do joint events with their team. And I actually created a joint event sheet at Go Coaching that I share with all my coach members, but it has a list of all the different types of events. It has a list of the family events that you do, and then the adult only events. And those are events that you're saying to the real estate agent, here, I think we should start here. Maybe it's a photo shoot at a park. Okay. Real simple thing. Maybe 14, 15 families you invite. They have their time slots. They're not going to show up. You maybe have a backup rain date. I'm just giving you an example of one. It's low cost. You're paying for a photographer for a few hours. Cool thing is now you got plenty of social media posts, right? You got lots of pictures, lots of video that you can actually use over the next 3 to 4 weeks. That could be evergreen pictures, okay? Because it's you with a family holding the baby, and it's like you're all eating maybe it's Chick-fil-A nuggets outside or whatever. I mean, it's just super inexpensive. Great thing to give to your clients, maybe even twice a year, maybe towards Christmas time, Santa with cookies. You hire a Santa Claus and a Mrs. Claus. I do at least 3 of those, by the way, towards Christmas time. I have 3 almost every year with my particular agents that love doing the Santa with cookies. We've done Santa near the train in Katy because we have like one of those outdoor trains, and we'll have Santa and his wife sitting out there at the train, and they'll do photos with the kids. I've even hired my son as a photographer for a lot of these events. He charges me full price, by the way, Connor. I don't like that.
Right.
He never gives me a discount for being a family member. I taught him well, apparently.
Right.
Also recognizing the team. There's 2 things in here about the team aspect. So if you look at number 1 and number 5, it says consistent presence. So you're in team meetings, and I can talk about what to do in a team meeting here in a second. But also recognizing the team, like recognizing who the team is. So if you're going after large teams, make sure you know all the different members of the team, and that you're not just going after the top person. You're also differentiating who the top person is, listing agent, maybe a couple buy-side deals. But then you got to make sure you take good care of those buyers agents. I made that mistake when I first went after teams. I just went after the head person and expected them to sell me instead of me selling myself. And that was a horrible idea. So putting myself in those team meetings for like the first 15 or last 15 minutes was big. I know we only have 30 minutes, so I'm trying to get through this fairly quickly. Did you have any, if I'm going to take myself off the share.
I did have a question on that because, I mean, what did you learn in that scenario? Because, I think the wisdom or the conventional thinking is, yeah, just go after the top agent and they'll sell you to the rest of the team.
Yeah.
So what was the lesson learned there? And then how did you pivot?
Well, yeah. So I started changing the team meeting aspect. Like, I was not doing team meetings before. I first would just go after the top guy, have lunch with him or her. And then I assumed that they would just disseminate my information to the team I'd give them a flyer. Again, back in the day, give them flyers and so forth, and say, "Can I just leave them at your office?" Now, this is back when people would go into the office and so forth. So you kind of expected that. I'm not saying I dropped off donuts in Texas, we do kolaches, donuts everywhere else, right? But I wasn't going to just do like drop off food. I always tell people, if you're going to do a team meeting, actually make it pointedly clear you're not bringing breakfast, you're not bringing lunch, because you want this to be about the business, not about you being some sort of caterer. Okay. Again, I think you need to, like, if you're a high touch person, start treating yourself as such. Like, put your bar higher. If you're listening to this podcast, if you're going and doing professional coaching, which apparently only about 7% of loan officers are professionally coached, which just blows my mind, because I'm like, I'm professionally coached. I've been professionally coached my whole career. Like, either Brian Buffini, Core, you name every coaching platform, Todd Duncan, I've done it all, Sales Mastery, all of it, because I believe that's the only way we can grow, if we're in an island aspect and we're not sitting in an office setting where, our mentors or our bosses are sitting right there giving us help. Then what are we doing? Like, how do we grow? And so I love the fact that you're doing this, Connor. I've seen, like, Shayla was on here, I guess, before. I'm following Shayla. I'm like, oh God, I hope I do okay. I've seen you put some great people on here, and it's great because it's educational. It helps people get to that next step. Hopefully just one little nugget. I always believe in bringing at least 1 to 2 solid nuggets that at least somebody can take away, whether they're at this level or they're at this level, they can at least start somewhere.
Right. Well, I think that goes back to what you said earlier about not asking, outright for the business from the jump, and really just like displaying your value, right? I think over in these scenarios, and what we've seen just culturally evolve in sales, is that that's kind of what's it going to take for me to earn your business today, or what's it going to take for me to get you in a car, I mean, that's
Yeah.
70s 80s style of sales. And now today we're in the let's build value, let's give, and I think what that shows the prospect is that you are someone of value that can take care of that business in the future, and when needed, they understand that you're the right person for the job. So I think it's an interesting shift, but I think it's a relevant one, and one that we see more and more in today's world.
Well, speaking of nuggets, I'll share real quick the team meeting specifically, because we got a couple more minutes to go. This right here, hopefully you guys see on your screen. You do. Okay. This one, it's just how to do a team meeting. So, Connor, I'm going to play a little game with you. We're going to do a little role play. So you're going to be the real estate agent, if you don't mind. You're a top real estate team lead person. I'm just going to do a quick role play with you to get myself into your team meeting. Okay. So, hey, Connor, it's Michael Harrington with Cross Country Mortgage. How are you doing today?
Michael, I'm doing great. Thank you.
Great. Hey, listen, I know you're busy. I saw the team size that you have, about 22 people on your team. I know you're the broker agent there. Do you guys do team meetings by chance on a weekly basis or biweekly basis in your office or virtually?
Yeah, we do it every other week on Wednesdays.
Okay, Wednesdays, great. I have a question for you. Do you ever have people come in and just do a quick educational, like 15 minutes tops? I'm not talking advertisement. I'm talking like actual educational information that could literally send your buyer's agents out making calls right away, like in regards to scripting and so forth.
No, usually people just want to come in and pitch us.
Okay. Well, if I promise you this is not a pitch, I can come in and do it. It's a three-tiered thing. I will talk about a product, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm the only one with that product, but at least it kind of tells them, it jogs their memory of maybe a client they talked to recently. But we'll talk about a product, but it's towards the very end. And I glance over it, and then I ask questions if people have questions. Let's say it's DSCR or bank statement loan or something like that. But my main key factor is I spend about 2 to 3 minutes on an update about the market in regards to lending, so that way they understand where rates are going and rates have gone in the last week. But more importantly, I'll do a tip or tactic around what kind of calls they can make right then and there to their prospects, either 2 months old, 3 months old, to try and get people off the fence and get them back out house hunting. Okay. Is that fair that you'd want to have something like that for your buyer's agents?
But yeah, if you can help my agents get more buyers, that sounds great.
Well, and Connor, I know sometimes eating up 15 minutes of a meeting that you really wish was shorter is good for y'all, right? So, and this is not a breakfast thing. This is not a lunch thing. So if you don't mind me coming at the very beginning, again, I will not be pitching the product. I might, but it's just going to be about the product, not about myself. I will give a quick intro. It'll be like 10, 15 seconds, just so that they know I've got 30 years in the business. If they have any questions, they can reach out to me. But other than that, I just want to make sure that I'm giving you guys some value for you and your team. And for all I know, you've got an in-house lender, totally fine. Again, I'm just trying to be a little bit more of a resource for all the real estate agents to go out there and start getting their buyer's house hunting again. Okay.
Yeah, no, sounds great.
Awesome. Thanks, Connor. I appreciate it. I will actually is there a coordinator in your office I need to get with in regards to putting myself on the calendar?
Sure. Well, I'll connect you with her and you
Awesome.
guys can figure that out.
That is literally what I say. Like I jump straight to it. I don't go into the whole. I've heard you've done some incredible, like, because they hear so many of these people that do other coaching platforms sound very similar when they're getting that phone
Hmm.
call. Man, you and your business, I've looked at your numbers. You're doing incredible. I would just love a chance to, maybe be your second or third lender on your. I mean, it's like they just regurgitate the same thing. You'll notice I was controlling the conversation, Connor, from the very get go. Like I immediately went to team meetings. I did not go into, I said you're a very busy person with everything you got going on. That was my way of honoring your time. That was a very quick synopsis. It's not oh my, like I'm not gushing over you, like because I realized that's what like if you ask most of my top agents, that's the first thing they say. Oh my God, these loan officers, this is what they call and say. Like they're almost making fun of them. Like you should. They're like, I
Well,
wish I had this on a recording. I'm like, oh my God,
well,
that's like,
here's
yeah,
here's something I noticed right away was that instead of going to the numbers and the production and all I want from you is your business sort of research you acknowledge the size of the brokerage. And to me, that's like second level research because the rookie or the novice is going to go straight to the numbers and say, "Oh, you're selling so many houses. Like, how do I get a piece of that?" And that's the implied, like that's what they hear. Versus, you're the broker owner there. You got 22 agents. I'd love to, get into one of your meetings. Like, I think that's a really smart
yeah.
way to acknowledge that you've done your research because again that's second level, like you went past just the production and the what's in it for you piece of it and really demonstrated that you knew something more than just surface level. So
Well, the same thing comes
love that.
even like from your world of recruiting. I get that call that says, "I hear you're doing such great numbers." Da, da, da. I'm like, "Great. How much did I do on your numbers? Like on your screen?" Like I just test them. I'm like, "What do you show I did?"
Right.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want the real numbers? I mean, I'm just like I just play around with them to see how much they really know, and it's like they know nothing. They're like, "Oh, well, I don't have that information in front of me right now." But I swear, I was like, "Oh, now you're tripping." Okay, I love to
Yeah, well,
trip.
and the information's never fully accurate
Correct. Yeah.
either, right? So like you're always going to end up with egg on your face if that's the only information you're planning on sharing. But and then it's always you got to do this like talk backwards, walk it, walk it
Walk it
back and go,
back. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
and yeah, that's never a good way to start a call.
Right. Well, I know we're almost up in time. Did you have any last minute questions for me that I wanted to make sure I had at least those two? I wanted two nuggets, which was, really just making sure that people understood what it takes to create a long term relationship with a realtor and make sure you're a partner, not a vendor, which I talked about today, actually, on the call with. I'm doing the May calls for our Monday morning mindset at Go Coaching this month, and so I had a few people on board with that, and that was what I was pointing out was partnership versus vendorship, and then of course the makeup, which we use the three letters PUT, so product
Hmm.
update, tip or tactic, and you do 2 or 3 minutes each, and then basically leave a couple minutes for questions, and then you're out of there in 15 minutes. Do not run over because the second you run over, you've not hit your commitment. Any questions on any of that?
No questions, man. I love the tactical nature of it. I think we talked about a lot. I want to give you an opportunity if there's anything else that you just wanted to share quickly before we say goodbye.
Yeah, sure.
Just general advice or wisdom that
Yeah,
you'd want to impart
absolutely.
on anybody who might be listening today.
Well, for anyone that's like not in coaching, again, this is not a sales pitch. You can reach out to me. I'll connect you with our team at Go Coaching, but get coached. I mean, it's the irony is when I tell realtors how much realtors pay for coaching, which ironically, realtors pay a lot less for their coaching platforms than lenders usually pay for theirs. But when you look at what you get in coaching for some of the platforms, which according to Shape, Shape says we're out of the top 10, we're the number one real coaching platform for mortgage lending. I don't know how they ranked it. I didn't look at the ranking reports. I want to make sure before I came on here that I was saying what number we are in coaching platform. But I mean, Amir has grown this to a massive size foundationally, and I've been part of many coaching platforms before, even worked for one as well as a coach. And I'm here to tell you that it's the most organized coaching platform I've ever been a part of, either as a student and I'm still a student, or as a coach. And to be held accountable as a coach, even Connor, which I mean, if you saw the level of accountability we have as coaches, that would blow your mind. We're not given carte blanche. It's not like we're given like a hall pass because we're a coach. Matter of fact, we're not given a hall pass at all. Like the accountability on our end is extreme, and it's because we can't tell you to do something and we're not doing it ourselves. And admittedly, Connor, I just last week I said in front of an entire crowd at GrowthCon, I said I'm going to finally get into Instagram and like I'm going to dive into the pool because I've been great on Facebook, but not so much on Instagram. Like a post once in a blue moon. Okay, so I posted all week last week, and I did it according to the plan. And I've been hired a professional, which I've done a good job with. And Amir's like he's my coach. He's like, dude, you're great on video. You need to do more of this. Like, and he's encouraging me. Now I might in reality suck on video. I have no idea if he's telling me the truth, but he's making me feel really good about myself. So I went and shot some more videos because Amir's saying, go do it. And I'm getting a text message, a WhatsApp from him. That's a going joke in the group because I'm horrible with WhatsApp. So now I'm on WhatsApp every morning. I was the first person on WhatsApp this morning out of all the coaches. Go me. But my whole projection is that if I didn't have Amir doing that for me, I don't know that I would have done it, honestly. I'm like high level thinker, like when it comes to mortgage lending. So if I need coaching at my level, being in this role for 30 years, just because you've done it for a long time, in my personal opinion, I think it's even more so necessary for coaching because you're set in your ways and the ways are about to like pass you by. Okay. Because between AI, which I use daily now, Connor, every single day, I don't think I would have done all the things I've done in the last 2 years with my career had it not been for Amir and, quite frankly, the coaching community and the coaches themselves. They're like a second family. The other thing, too, is making sure that if you're in coaching, that's encouraging. Like, you don't want people that are going to yell at you, scream at you. You want people that are going to encourage you. They're going to push you, okay? I mean, push you. But, not the sports level of like, throwing chairs and stuff. That's not healthy, okay? McKnight used to do that, throw jerk chairs.
Yeah, Bobby Knight.
I think that's I think there's a way to coach. I think there's a way not to coach. I don't do well with that kind of coaching personally. So I just think it'd be good for people to get coached. If they need to reach out to, they can easily get a hold of me. Just look at Michael Harrington cross country, and they can feel free to call. My cell's everywhere, so they can call my cell and say, "Hey, I heard your message about getting coached. Where should I start?" And if they have a budget, I can even tell them like, well, with that kind of budget, maybe you should start here in coaching. At least start on coaching. But if you have an issue with accountability, then don't join a company like the Core or Go Coaching because the accountability is heavy, right? If you need someone to be lighter on the accountability, maybe you need to join we have a foundations level, which is light on the accountability side, but there's all the material there, right? But if you want someone that's going to like hold your feet to the fire, like you're at the gym, right? You're at the gym, your watch might hold you accountable to a certain degree because it's got your stats on there. You know how many minutes you've been on the treadmill. But no one's going to tell you if you got off the treadmill. Your watch is going to say, "Oh, you got off too soon. What are you doing?" Like you're just going to get off too soon. Like if a coach or a professional was standing there right next to you, they'd be pushing you, shoving you nicely, of course, but they'd be encouraging you to stay on. And you can go another minute. You can go another 3 or 4 miles per hour faster. Like they would tell you what to do, and you would probably do it because you have someone holding you accountable, whether it's a peer, a boss, or in this case, coaching. I don't know where I'd be without coaching today, personally. Like it just wouldn't be good.
Well, I love that. And I've seen some of your videos in the last week, so keep it up, man. They are great. So
Thanks.
I must agree with Amir on that. And I really appreciate, just you sharing that perspective on the coaching world. And I see it as a pattern on the lowdown. I mean, people who come on the show, I don't know exactly for sure, but if I'm kind of going through my head, I would think somewhere between 75 to 90% of the people who've been on are actively in a coaching program now. And these are the top 10% of producers in the industry that come on this show. And so there's a clear correlation of success with that, extra level of accountability in coaching and having that connection to peers and things of that nature, because it does get lonelier as you produce more. There's less and less people in the business that have the same challenges and problems that you have as you grow. Things change, right? The need to hire, like just the needs become different as your production builds and grows. And so to be around a group of people or someone who's been there, done that, and can guide you through it will save you a lot of time and headaches and all of that and get you to where you want to go faster. So,
and hey, last thing
great
about
call out on
accountability,
there.
real quick, Connor. Last thing.
Yeah.
So I'll say this: to hold me even more accountable, follow me at Instagram. This is going to hold me more accountable saying this out loud. Follow me at Michael_home loan on Instagram. That's going to make me make sure I on a daily basis I'm posting something. Hold me more accountable. DM me if I go a day without posting something. Say, dude, you had no story today. What the hell? So there you go. There's even a little bit more accountability there for you. So.
All right, man. Well, Michael, thanks for being on the lowdown. I really appreciate you, and best of luck for the future.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.